Welcome, everybody, to a special edition of the Lexit War Room. We have a Lexit round panel. What I'm going to do is we're going to do something different today, and we're going to have a discussion about what's going on. And there's a lot of topics that we need to cover. A lot of us are disappointed what's going on at the border. I brought on these women because, to be honest, it affects a lot of our Latino women. What's going on at the border, nobody can speak up better than Latina women. So before I start, I want everybody to introduce themselves. So from Adrian all the way down, back up. Go ahead, brother.
All right. Well, I'm Adrian. I'm typically behind the scenes. I'm producing the show, and I try to do my best to get everything on there, all the content we can. But today, I guess I'll be on here, and we'll just talk about some good stuff, and we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be good.
What's up, everybody? It's me, Jesse. Everybody knows me, Jesse, the founder of Lexit. I'm going to try to talk a little bit less today and give the spotlight to the rest of my Lexit crew team members here. They're all great. You guys are going to love them all. Trying to let you guys all see all of them and have a great show.
What's up, everyone? Excited to be here. This is my first time here in the War Room. I'm Frankie. I'm Puerto Rican and a member of Lexit, so super excited to be here. And I'm all about just sharing content and the truth and everything the media doesn't want you to know about.
Nino.
Oh, my turn. I thought, okay, my bad. Hey, what up, everybody? My name is Nino. I'm just a nobody that knows a somebody. Amen. Jesus Christ is Lord. He's everything. I'm nothing, and I'm excited to be here on the show, on the Lexit War Room. We back at it, y'all. We back at it, ready to rock and roll. And God is good. What up, y'all?
All the time.
Yeah, you already know who it is. Your boy A-Rod. You know what it is. So yeah, A-Rod, that's what it is. So go ahead, sister.
Hey everyone, my name is Adrienne Ferguson, and this is my first War Room. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and I'm currently a reporter for Right Side Broadcasting News, and I'm also a research assistant in the field of political science. So I'm glad to be here.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, you guys. So let's get into it. Let's talk about border first. I just received some news that Jill Biden is going to be coming to Delano, California to speak to these field workers. And I'm like, wait, hold on real quick. You need to turn around and head to the border, right? They need to address what's going on. So let's start with Adrian first. How come they haven't fixed it? They said on day number one they were going to do this. Now they're turning around blaming Trump and saying it's Trump's fault. What's up, bro?
Well, we all know it's not Trump's fault, right? We really know it's not his fault. It's Biden's fault, right? And it's just a numbers game. That's all it is. We know that he wants more people to come in illegally because that equals to votes, right? So everyone that's been in this for a while understands that. So if you let in 20,000 people illegally, I don't know. I'm not a mathematician, but I'm sure you probably get about 1 million extra votes in every state. So I don't know. That equals to a whole bunch more. So to me, it's a numbers game. They're letting all these people in illegally for a political propaganda. So that's what I think. I think Jill, she needs to probably go back to being Biden's caretaker and, pull him off the stage and tell him it's over.
Exactly.
That's what I think. I don't know.
The reason they haven't done nothing is because they don't want to do nothing. This was all part of their plan. They, like you said, they're just doing it for the votes. That's what they're trying to do. We've been known. They've been trying to push open borders for the longest time. We've already known that. And it's just more, it just shows how slimy and pathetic the Democrats are, where he was trying to shut it down. He wouldn't let the media or nobody, he didn't want no pictures, no footage of the cages and all that, right? And then it comes out, Project Veritas exposes it. It just shows how slimy they are, that they're deliberately trying to hide it, and just shows how you guys, anybody that fell for it, you guys got played by the Democrat Party. But go ahead, Frankie.
And it's really interesting because if you caught Biden just last week, he was claiming that he was open and willing to work with any Republican on this because, we all know that they're trying to deny that this is a crisis. We all know that it's what's actually happening. And, come to find out, here's Ted Cruz going down to the border with 18 other senators. Trump was even coming out saying that he was considering going down to the border to see exactly what was going on. there was a reporter that actually asked Biden, what he thought about this. That Ted Cruz was heading down, other senators were heading down, that even Trump was going down before him, and what did he think? And the only thing Biden had to say was, "Oh, I don't really care what they're doing." So that, I mean, there's nothing that says it more clearly than that statement right there. They obviously don't care. They're letting in all of these people. They arrested, I think it was already over 900 actual criminals with records from Mexico. They're saying it's up to 50% that are coming in with COVID. They don't care. They're just letting people in, and it's America last.
Always.
I keep thinking it's Adrian on the bottom. My bad, y'all. Man, my issue is this. I honestly say this. Look, no, like the kids say, no cap, right? No lie here. I think this is a human trafficking operation happening right under our noses. Check it out. Because I'm in Midland, there's a migrant facility in my city on the south side of town, right down the road from me. And the problem is Abbott, and I told my people on my page this before multiple times, Abbott tried to get in there to look. They're not allowing him to go in there. Also, he's not allowed to speak to these so-called migrants to even know if they're even being taken care of. Also, it's a oil field man camp, y'all. So basically, the water they're saying is not good. Okay, and I know that because I live out here. You don't drink the water out here, y'all, in West Texas. It's polluted. So that's why I'm saying the Biden administration has failed the people like we knew he would. The Biden administration, I believe, are operating a human trafficking operation because it's very clear to see. They're not allowing us in there. They kicked out Ted Cruz, right? Everybody looking like a burrito. Let's be honest, guys. It's inhumane what they're doing to these children, these young men, right? In these facilities. I'm telling you, you would think it's a Twilight Zone. You would think this is basically episode of Black Mirror, episode 666. This is crazy what's happening. And I'm telling you, that's why I truly believe, this is my opinion, Facebook overlords, Facebook thought police. This is my opinion, right? I'm a Hispanic. I'm a minority. I'm a victim, right? Here's my opinion, right? My opinion is this. We are watching and living in a human trafficking operation being conducted by the Biden-Harris administration. Go ahead, A-Rod.
No, you're right, bro. And that's why I think everything that's going on at the border right now is ungodly. That's why you see these ungodly celebrities. It's crickets right now. People like George Lopez, people like the singer, I forget his name. A lot of these people, all they did was last year was they criticized Trump what happened at the border. And now it's dead silent. And I honestly think it's because they really don't care. They don't have no love for these kids that are coming over. When you show them that a lot of these kids that are coming, we went live with Art De La Cueto, who works there at the border. He was telling us, let me tell you guys something, and a lot of people are not going to want to hear this. The kids that are coming over, they're not your Fortnite kids. The kids that are sitting there playing Fortnite, these kids have already committed murder. These kids have already sexually molested other kids there at the border. They've trafficking drugs. So you're getting kids that have already been indoctrinated into this lifestyle that are coming over to do the same thing. It boggles my mind that we sit here in America and we say, well, we don't want our kids talking to these Trump kids because they need to be reprogrammed, they need to be retrained, and they're opening the borders wide open to these kids who are doing these horrific acts, and they're turning their blind eye to it. No sound, no uproar, nothing. They're staying quiet. And to me, I'm sitting there looking at them, but it doesn't shock me because when you're not led by God, you have no moral compass. You end up turning on each other. There's no morality. There's no line of morality when it comes to them. It's just go by the flow, whatever's popular. That's why the news media right now, I knew this is what they were going to do, especially the news media. They're going to sit there now that the ratings are going low. They're going to attack Biden just a little bit, right? And they're doing it because they're going to probably want Kamala to come in anyway. But they're attacking because they have to keep the ratings up. But at the same time, nothing is going to get done.
I appreciate your comments about the sex trafficking at the border. I'm also a representative for Stop the Demand, which is an organization dedicated to combating sex trafficking at the border. And the statistics show that 80% of women females, adult women, and little girls, 80% of them will be sexually abused on their foot journey to the border. And I think it's ironic, given the Biden administration promising to support women's empowerment, and yet they completely forget to acknowledge sex trafficking at the border, and they don't do anything to protect the little girls, especially who are completely victim to MS-13 and all of the coyotes at the border from the Biden administration. It's sickening.
You're right, and I think that's important that everybody needs to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Martin. Miami in the house. What's up, Martin?
Can you hear us, Martin?
Make sure you take that mute off. Make sure you take the mute off.
He mentioned too is that they're about the human trafficking. Can you hear me? About the COVID. They're not even testing these illegals and that are coming for COVID. How could that be? But all of us, the rest of us, are locked down. Everything. We can't even go to church. All kinds of things. But yet they're not even testing them. That just shows how ridiculous. Even where's Dr. Fauci at? Where's Dr. Fauci, the CDC, anything on us we do? Oh, they want us to wear double masks, all this stuff, regulations on us. But you see the pictures in the videos, they're not even social distancing in there, nothing. They're not even clean. I heard some reports that said that the kids are showering like once every 7 days or something like that. But yet, where's AOC at? Where's AOC and all of them? How come they're not at the border over there doing their fake photo shoot? You there, Martin?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Martin. We're talking about the border, brother.
Yeah. Anyways, just going back to what Nino said, something very, very bad happened today because the FBI waived any background checks for the people that are going to be taking care of these kids. And they upped it from 18, so they're going to be able to take 29 at a time. And what do you think is going to happen? I mean,
Hey, dropped out. Hey, but real quick, what Martin was saying, right? We talked about this already in a previous live. Basically, they are waiving, right, the background check, and we found out about this a couple of days ago. But that's what I said, y'all. It's like a human trafficking operation because it's all leading to that. It's like all the clues, right? Not even clues. All the facts are being presented to us, and we're seeing it right in front of our eyes. Let's call it what it is, y'all. If they're not even doing a background check on these people that are helping out these people, what's going on here? What's really happening right now, y'all? It's a free-for-all with this country, with this administration. Go ahead, Adrian.
Well, real quick, before I talked to Nino about this the other day, I go, how stupid do the leftists look when they were literally pointing their fingers at Nino's face saying, put on your mask, looking at TV, and all these people are crossing over with no mask. And I'm thinking to myself, how stupid do you feel right now? And nobody's saying nothing. They're sitting there forcing a lot of us to abide to what Biden is telling us to do. And how come they get a pass and they're not even citizens of the United States?
Bunch of hypocrites. Go ahead, Adrian.
Right. Go ahead, Adrian.
You know what doesn't make sense? So I know a lot of you know that I work with immigration in a detention center. So what I don't understand is this, is how is it that, it goes deeper than just like the children being inside the detention center. I think me and A-Rod talked about this a while back. When you look at the children in the detention center, like Nino said, I mean, I'm not going to lie, man. The first thing I thought was the exact same thing. I'm like, man, how crazy is it that it looks like little burritos just wrapped up and they're just sitting in there? So what I look at is this, the children that are coming over, right? Like, yeah, it's all bad, but yeah, we kind of do need to help them because they are children, most of them. But I'm looking at it deeper. I'm looking at it from this standpoint as a parent. How is it that a mother or a father can just like turn in their children and say like use it as a bargaining chip? And then how do we want those people to, you know, to kind of assimilate in our society? How do we want them to be our neighbors, our friends, when the lowest thing you could do in life is just like take your children and say, here you go, have my children. I don't know who you are. Yeah, you kind of work for the government, but just take care of them and I'll come find them, or you just connect me back with them in another month or something. That doesn't make no sense to me. Like, you got to be a dirtbag to do that, right? So that's what I look at. Maybe keep the children and get rid of all these dirtbags that are just turning in their children. That's what I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Hey, I say arrest the parents, but I want to say something real quick. Check this out. It's a known fact that the cartel uses the children and like recycles them. They're like a freaking you know what I'm talking about, Jesse? This is a tactic that the cartel uses. They use the children, and a bunch of dumb Americans are sitting there feeling bad, right? Yes, we have hearts, but at the same time, you want to come into my country, you need to come into my country the right way, not the wrong way. And most of these people that come here, they say why? Why do they want to come here, Jesse? What's the main reason why they want to come here? Are they fleeing religious persecution?
No,
I don't think so. Well, tell them, Jesse, what's the main reason they say they're coming to America?
Yeah, exactly. Like you were saying, I don't know how they're able to apply for amnesty, because there's no wars going on in their countries. They're not being persecuted because they got these activists schooling them, teaching them, telling them what to say. That as soon as you come, say this, and they'll let you in. Or that's why they're having the kids, like you said, they're using them to get in. It's just the left. It's just the left is right. Just like you said, a big old operation. That's why Biden, he ain't saying nothing. He ain't saying doing anything to stop it, because that's what they want. And then watch, like I said before, watch. So that's the operation right now. It's open borders. They're just getting so many coming in, right? And the next thing they're going to say, for illegals to vote, right? And then the fake media and that is going to push the narrative. You're racist if you don't think illegals should vote. Just like how they're saying about the IDs and all that, whatever. All the blacks and minorities can't get IDs. Like, what? Why can't we get? But now they're going to say that we're racist. That's just all about power. That's all it is. And it just makes me sick, because you can't even really blame these people, because if they're looking for a better life, if you're starving, you want to feed your family, all that, of course, everybody's going to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even blame those people. I blame Biden and his policies, because Trump had it sold up. Trump had it. The border the numbers were way down. Everything was doing good. But Biden comes in, there's immediately day one signing executive orders overturning Trump's stuff. And then now look at it. So now it's like a floodgate coming in. And can you believe the audacity that they're trying to blame Trump? I heard a couple of them like, are you freaking jokes? Just because they know 50% of their supporters will believe anything that they tell them, because they're sheep. They can just say any old thing and they're going to believe it. Go ahead, Frankie.
Yeah, going back to what you were saying, I mean, Biden said himself, if you can be here by January, whatever day it was, you get amnesty. He gave them a deadline. Be here by this day. They know the cartels can forge all the paperwork. They can say they were here a year ago. It doesn't matter, you know. And that's they're blaming Trump, as they always do. It was multiple times that Biden said, "Get here, get to the border, cross the border. We need a search to the border." You know, and going back to the background checks, it's really interesting how they're waiving this background check for all of these people. We have no idea where they're coming from, what their history is, what they're coming in with. You know, if they're coming in with the intention of you know, selling drugs or murderers or rapists, as like I was saying before, we already know it's up to 1,000 people that have been arrested already with history.
Or do they? Or, I hate to cut you off. Or do they even have COVID? We don't even know that part. The big old pandemic, right?
Exactly. It's already being reported. It's up to 50% of them that are being tested and are showing that they're positive for COVID. So, you know, going back to the background checks, you know, we're all being, you know, our gun rights are being taken away with these extended background checks that they're pushing, that they're eliminating background checks at the border. You know, they're pushing vaccine passports on us now, but they're not testing for COVID at the border. So it's obvious. It has nothing to do with safety. It's all a political stunt. They want as many people here that they know are going to be guaranteed votes for them. They don't care. They don't care.
Yeah, and to add on to Jesse's point earlier about these illegal immigrants not being able to seek asylum, if you've noticed over the past 10 years, there's been a very shift. There's been a big shift in the rhetoric used labeling these people. Like 10 years ago, there wasn't a problem calling these illegal immigrants. And then about 5 years ago, there's been a shift towards undocumented immigrants. And now we're calling them refugees, which technically they are not refugees if you look at the legal terminology. But it's all political, and they're using refugee terminology not only to make you empathize and feel bad for these people, but to give them an easier way into the country, even though they're not refugees. There's gang violence everywhere across the country. And there's gang violence in Chicago, but there aren't Chicago citizens fleeing to Canada. But you'll see it from Latin America, and not only is it not fair, but a lot of it has to do with the mainstream media pushing different words on these illegal immigrants, and now people think they're refugees when really they're not. And it just makes it that much easier for illegal immigrants to cross the border because they're being called something that they aren't.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's a word game, and you know what? You said it right. It's planned. That's why a month ago, what were they pushing hard to get rid of? ICE, right? Because they knew this was coming. And let's get the border patrol down to a minimum so they can't, hold the line. Why don't look at Joe Biden? Why don't you go back to what Trump did? Remember what he did? He put tariffs on Mexico so the people that came over can wait in Mexico in order for them to get a court date, right? Why don't we put tariffs on Mexico again and say, guess what? Why don't you build housing for the children right out on the other side of your border? Why don't you build these huge places where they can stay at and wait in nice facilities? Because supposedly these are your people, right? They're coming through your country first. Why can't we put tariffs on them where they can do these kind of things? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that makes sense. No, you know what really makes sense to the Democrats is open the door open, let them come in and let us benefit from them, like voting, right? Like undercutting, basically cripple capitalism, so we get socialism, because they don't even understand how basic economics work. If they did and they understood, they would be businessmen like just like we are, and businesswomen like we are, and not undercut each other. So it's been planned for a long time, because I believe it's more planned to push socialism, not even socialism, which has gone farther than that, but I feel like it's pushing them because they have that ideology more than they do capitalism. They're going to be like, oh, we'll do whatever it takes. Yeah, free money, give it. I don't care. And I'll still have a job on the side. I can live off $2,000 a month. To them, it doesn't matter, right? Go ahead, Martin.
No, what's ironic is that ever since the Democrats came into office, is that they've been changing laws, all in the name of, bettering the country. All of a sudden, you could only fit 250 people there, but now also you can fit 800 people in there. Everything is like, to better the country. Well, we need to take your guns away, because we're going to be better. We're doing all this stuff because Donald Trump destroyed the country. How in the hell did he dismantle the immigration system? If he would have dismantled the immigration system, we would have had a lot of immigrants already. But people just don't wake up. These Democrats, are family members, that know damn well what goes on in the border. The border, I've always said, the border is not Disney World. I mean, what happens is the border, what happens in the border there, and like I said, I don't blame the cartels. The cartels is the symptom of the problem. Okay. If it wouldn't be no cartels there, there'd be thieves there, there'd be gang of thieves there. And all they're doing is, there's a lot of money that goes through there, women, kids, and guess what? That problem exacerbates there. And Trump had we built the wall. He had a lot of systems in there in place where people couldn't come in, and it was great for the last 3 to 4 years. Now I don't know what's going to happen now, especially with the kids. I know for a fact that this thing with the kids, with the foster parents, it's going to be a big crisis. you know, and it's gonna be exposed. But you know what's the messed up part of it? Some kids are they're gonna get raped. Some of them probably even gonna get killed, man. You know, how do we expose this, man? You know, we're gonna need a lot of prayers, a lot of intervention, you know, from God, because this is because I mean, 15,000 kids undocumented. No, it's 15,000 kids getting ready to be trafficked. God forbid what's going to happen to those kids, you know?
You know, and just to jump in really quick, you know, Biden was just stating again the other day that he had this plan to get 1,000 of these kids out to a better facility where they would have better conditions. You know, that's great for the 1,000 kids. What about the other 15,000? You know, you're kind of like, oh, here, kind of just look at this over here. Don't look at anything over here. Just keep an eye on the shiny object. And you know, I feel like that's how they keep playing this game. You know, that they'll ask one question and divert to something else, and you have to get down to the facts. You can't keep distracting the people, because little by little people are going to start catching on, and they think that they are. You know, and you asked a really important question: how do we expose all of this? You know, how do we get the truth out?
Yeah, they're packed in there, but you know what? We're building another tent.
Is too is you notice how another thing you never hear the Democrats talk about the homeless situation, because I'm over here in LA and the homeless situation is really bad. Even right here down the street in Echo Park, the park was fully taken over by the homeless, so they were out there rioting, and Antifa and all them came and all that. But why don't they ever talk about Americans? You notice that? They don't ever talk about, we already have a bad homeless situation for the veterans, all of that kind of stuff. And there's so many people out of work, losing their businesses, all because of COVID. All this is going on. So this is the worst possible time to be having open borders right now, with everybody losing their job, the economy, just everything because of COVID. And then, like I said, and then you're not even testing them. So imagine, you know what I'm saying? They already all had us locked down for a whole year, and then you're letting hundreds of people come in, and you're not even testing them. So that's just going to infect us all. You know what I mean? You're not worried about that at all, because they just want to push their agenda.
Hey, real quick. No, go ahead, Martin. My bad.
No. There's a homeless camp right outside Capitol Hill, right where the fence is at. There's literally a homeless camp there.
Wow.
And they let it happen. I mean, like, damn, doesn't Pelosi look at that and say, like, shit, I mean, this is embarrassing for us. Let's kick them out of there. No, they're just there, you know?
Hey, real quick, y'all, I'm at the top of the hour on my end, y'all. I got to get out of here, but real quick, I just want to say this before I leave, y'all. Guys, what do we do, right? What do we do at this point in history? Like, we can go live and do streams, and we can go do protests, y'all, but we don't even have some of these Republicans don't even do nothing. Do nothing Dems, do nothing Republicans. It's like these politicians have truly failed the people, y'all. So what do we do at this moment? What can we do?
You know what?
Keep making lives and keep doing things. Hey, Rob, what do you think we can do, bro? What can we do, bro? It's mind-boggling that we're talking about this and it's actually happening, and yet we don't have no plan of action. We lost Trump. I mean, what do we do at this point in history when these children are being raped? They are being trafficked. Women are being raped and trafficked as well. And these Democrats don't give a damn. Go ahead, A-Rod.
Yeah, you know what? We all can agree. Everybody says, this isn't, you know, we hear it all the time now. It's a line everybody uses. They say, we're not fighting, it's not about left, right, or we're fighting a spiritual battle. Okay, we'll take that. If we're fighting a spiritual battle, and I'm just going to be real, where are all the freaking pastors? If we're saying here, hey, look, you have to, I see pastors that were arrested.
Pathetic.
I see pastors that didn't show up and say, you guys need to stay home. Now that they're seeing, I expect every pastor right now that if they're telling you can't congregate, you better on Sunday go and congregate, because if they're letting what's happening at the border happen and you don't get off your butt and go do it,
A-Rod,
guess what? You're going to have to answer the
Amen, A-Rod.
A-Rod, the pastors are weenies, bro. The pastors have vaccinated pews and unvaccinated pews, okay? These pastors are a bunch of chumps, weenies. They sold out to the world, and we call them out. But again, where are the men of God, right? It's just like in the Bible, right? God's looking just for a few select men to stand up. Yet, where are they? Where are the men that want to stand up? We know a couple of them, right? There's a couple of us here, but is it enough, y'all, to stand against this tyrannical government, big and small? I was going against my local school board, and they didn't listen to the people. So to me, y'all, it's very discouraging dealing with this big government that's too big, dealing with the local government that's full of COVID Karens and Rona weenies and mass people. I see mass people all day. Like, when are we going to stand up? When is enough? When is too much? When are we going to do something, y'all? And again, I want to say this. People sit there and say, oh, go storm, go protest, this and that. You know what? How about we do this? Somebody made a comment on my Facebook, y'all. I'm going to part with this because I got to get ready to go to work. But I'm going to tell you something. Look, y'all, someone said this. Maybe we need to shut our mouths. Maybe we need to be quiet, keep our head down, and don't go out to these rallies and go out where we could be targets and we could be rounded up. We need to start hollering at the local militias, right? Start bartering, getting away from the dollar, doing things more smart and strategic, y'all. Being more local, being involved locally, right? So maybe that's a route that we need to at least consider at this point. Because right now, y'all, it's looking really bad at this point. So, guys, I don't know what to tell you. I'm upset. I'm discouraged, and I have no faith in this current administration. And with that, y'all, hey, God bless y'all. Thanks for having me on. I had to jump off at the 30-minute mark, but God bless y'all, and I'll be watching.
Thanks for coming on, Nino.
All right, thank y'all.
All right, take care, Nino.
To piggyback on what Nino said, then we'll go around and talk about it. I definitely think we need to be strategic, for sure. Definitely need to be strategic going forward. But going back to pastors and stuff like that, and I'm going to talk to the men on here. How do we expect? You have to be accountable, men. At this time, you have to lead, especially if you're head of the household and stuff like that. You can't sit here and expect, we need to get all these women and children. No, you need to do it. You need to be the one to stand up. You need the one to be the one to lead by example. And I'm talking about all politicians. Because at the end of the day, whether it's like they said, whether it's left or right, when we stand before God, guess what? Congress is not going to be there. Lexit's not going to be there. It's going to be you and Christ. And he's going to look right at you. He's going to be like, so what's up? Let me tell you what you did for me. So we're all going to be accountable. If you're a husband, you're going to be accountable. If you're a dad, you're going to be accountable. So I hope that you're a spiritual leader, like we said, that you stand up right now and you move forward. I think Trump said it best in his last speech, or the speech he did in Washington, D.C. He said, governors hold a lot of power. Your local officials hold a lot of power. It's time that we put like-minded people in positions where we can start growing. You know what I mean? Like just like the churches used to do, little cell groups, and then spread out. Because what happened was we were looking at the Super Bowl, but you guys need to realize that we can't win the Super Bowl if we're losing all the games in between. It doesn't work that way. We need to take it back. Like Mario from Lexit always says, we need to start from the fire from the bottom up and start locally. And I encourage everybody to run for local office. We have Adrian right here at the corner who's going to run for mayor soon. Hopefully he sticks through with it, and I'm going to support him. But so what you guys is taking on what we should do, especially with the Republican Party, where we should go from where we're at right now. Go ahead, Adrian.
Well, I think, like you said, I think we talked about this a while back. I think, like Mario always says, you burn that fire from underneath up, whatever his little thing is. But what it really means is we really have to start local, because we understand, like, especially like in our county, mine in A-Rod's county, we know that our local sheriff, he didn't enforce all these COVID restrictions and all this other stuff that we look at, and we kind of we just use common sense practices, and he's that type of sheriff. So I think what it comes down to is we have to stand up together, but at the same time, somebody needs to actually step forward. So we've talked about this before, where if you have the platform, either put yourself up, the first in line, or grab someone, put them in front of you. You have to do something. You just can't sit there and kind of be an influencer and not do anything at the end of the day. So, I mean, my contribution is going to be running for mayor in a few years. I think that we should be able to win. And although our mayor in this city has, I want to say, limited type of responsibilities because it's split into two different sections. I mean, I'm doing my part. You know what I mean? And at the same time, me and A-Rod have came up with a couple different groups and we're coming up with a lot of different things to be able to either put ourselves in the front row or put somebody else in the front row. And I think that's what it comes down to, especially with Lexit. One of the biggest things that I always say is we need to have more Latinos kind of be successful in order to be able to look up to them and for them to pull us up with them, right? And if you're not pulling other Latinos and just conservatives in general, I mean, I say Latinos because we're you know, we're part of Lexit, but at the end of the day is we have to pull conservatives up with us. We can't just, oh, I got a little bit of fame, I'm just going to leave now. It's like, no, help somebody up, you know, because if you're not doing that, you're really not doing it justice. And I mean, if you're very spiritual, I mean, it's somewhere in the Bible. Help as many people as you can when you can. I mean, that's my motto. I try to help as many people as I can with what I can. And that's my contribution. I mean, not only that, but I mean, I try to do it as being a husband, trying to be a dad, you know, and everything else under the sun. And, you know, and like I said, that's my contribution to wanting to better everything. So that's just me. I mean, what do you think, Frankie?
Now, I absolutely agree. Just like A-Rod, you said as well, I think we have to start small. We have to start locally in our own community. You know, because when you start looking at all of these positions that are possible, I feel like right after the election, when everything was going on and we were seeing all of these things coming out, so many people were coming out saying, there's no point in voting anymore. They've won the system. There's no hope for us left. You know, but there's a lot of things that you can do to be a part of the process. You know, you can work at the polling centers. You can be one of the people counting. You could be one of the people verifying that these ballots are valid. You know, you can be the judges, you know, or work your way up to be a judge to handle these cases when these cases of election fraud come up and handle them the right way. You know, personally for me, I teach at my church on Sundays, and it's something really, really important to me to also talk to them when we have our gatherings outside of class to talk about current events and talk about politics and talk about things that are going on, because I think it's so important to start with the youth as well too, not just focus on one group, you know, because their minds are so malleable. I mean, I don't want to say that they believe everything that they see, but if everything they're seeing is limited to this bubble, they're not going to see anything else, because all they're getting is one perspective from everything, and they're not capable of having those open conversations, because for one, it's difficult to come out as a conservative. So a kid who, let's say, is in middle school or high school, who's already going through that time, right, where they're trying to be cool and they're trying to fit in, that's going to be the last thing that they're going to say, unless if they have a group that they feel safe in. And I know for me, or you know, Adrian, I know you're planning on running. One of the things for me, I want to work my way up to, you know, get into the school board somehow, because education is so important. You know, if you're at school board and you're talking to, you know, all of the officials and you're making the rules on what the curriculum needs to be in the schools, you know, take out the crap of the critical race theory and the racism in mathematics. Like, I've never seen anything more stupid ever in my life. You know, like, these kids are supposed to be there to learn math, to learn English, to learn science, which is also ironic that they're the party of science. And they're not teaching any of that. They're teaching that America is a racist country. All of the history is fake. Like, you can't expect a better outcome out of these kids if everything you're teaching in schools is wrong. You know, these aren't schools anymore. They're indoctrination camps, and it's you have to start from literally the grassroots of the grassroots, and that's as young as they come. You have to start educating kids as young as possible to show them, you know, all of the conservative values, of the benefits of free markets and limited government, and they have to understand the benefits and the positive that comes out of that, you know. Go ahead, Adrian, take it away.
I'm sorry, I always forget to mute. No, I completely agree with everything you said so far. I had the privilege of going to Catholic school almost my whole life, but I've observed so many people who have gone through, like, even public school or Catholic school, if they didn't have a strong family foundation teaching them about the church, or just values like courage and truth and respect, I've observed them now, and they don't have any of these values despite going through a good education, a religious education. And that's because there's so many facets of the everyday world just leading them towards evil. And that's why it's so, so important for parents. We need to support parents getting married. We need to support having a family, and not only having a family, but teaching them, religious values, teaching them about Christ, that he died for us and our sins. And, we have to live a life for God and not for ourselves. But in today's age, we look on TV, it's all about me. How can I become famous? How can I become rich? How can I do all these things for me? And that's going to mess not only with your mentality, but your spirituality. It's going to mess you up. It's going to throw you on the wrong path for eternity. And so I think you're completely right. We need to really focus on the family, and we need to support parents and encourage parents to be the first teachers for their children, because if there isn't a strong foundation for the children in the household, then they're probably not going to get it anywhere else. And with that, I'm going to have to hop off, but I really enjoyed joining all of you guys for my first War Room, and I hope to be back. Okay. Bye, guys.
Thanks, sis. Appreciate you.
I'm not sure how to hop off.
Hello? Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
we got you. Go ahead.
Jess.
Oh, I said, we're going to have another new ladies show coming out. So hopefully you'll have Frankie and Adrian and whoever, a couple of the other new girls. So you guys will be able to see more. You have all these ugly guy faces all the time. You guys have.
I know, right? Hey, they killed it. The girl.
Yeah, you guys are some extremely handsome gentlemen.
Oh.
Oh, that's better than hear you say. But hey, let's change the subject. What do you guys think about those devil shoes that guy came out with to the left? What are your thoughts on that, Martin? Can't hear you.
Martin said he ordered a pair. Martin, come on.
Martin ordered a pair.
Oh yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just want to just put my 2 cents as far as what we need to do. What we need to do is we need to be like the Democrats, because they're very smart, and what Democrats create, they create a good grassroots. They create movements. So Lexit is a movement. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, and we're trying to reach out to the Latinos, people that were not involved in politics, or people that were in Democrats. They thought that the Democrats were looking out after them. So we have to stay the course in this. And second of all, for some reason, our people don't like to donate money, and you need money to create movements, So if you guys are out there, if you guys can donate some money to the PayPal here, I mean, go for it, man. Because I mean, we put our own money, but we definitely need more money to get our voice out there, and to do more things, and to do rallies. And we need to start doing rallies that are educational too. And I wanted to ask you guys, since you guys are in California, and there's a lot of Hispanics out there, particularly Mexicans, do they know what's going on with the kids as far as the indoctrination, or do they turn a blind eye, or they don't, or the parents of the kids?
I'll answer that question real quick. I honestly feel like sometimes, like Hispanic or Latino or Suramericanos, they're just happy that they get to send their kids somewhere so they can go to work. They can care less what they're being taught at school. We got to be honest. I mean,
right?
They really don't care. I believe that the majority of low income households, that's the last thing on their mind, to be honest with you. I think they're just thinking like, send them to school as long as you can, send them to after school program so that I can just go to work and make ends meet, and then it is what it is. And then you got a low percentage of people that graduate to go to college, and then the cycle just continues. So I'm glad I'm one of the people that got to break that cycle, graduated from college, live middle class or whatever, if there's still a middle class or whatnot. And I think it just has to do with, like, once you become sort of out of high school, out of college, you just got to do for yourself, because in all reality, most low-income parents are not worried about that. They're worried about paying the rent or keeping the lights on. That's just my take on it.
Exactly, and that's why we need money. We need money to translate these laws that they're doing into Spanish and give them out to the parents, and have people out there distributing. uh,
You know,
I'm sorry, and
you know,
and direct mail. So that would be a good idea, to get them awake or know what's
you
going
know
on.
where, you know where I think we could target them is people say there's two reasons why Donald Trump was up with Latinos. I believe he was at a plus 8%. I believe is a lot of that were in Florida because of communism, and I believe the majority of people that voted for Trump is because their moral values. And I think this is where we go, where we could connect with Latinos here in California and across the nation. Is I read this when I first got into politics. It's the majority of transgenders in California are Latinos, right? And everybody says, yeah, yeah, because there's a lot of Latinos. But think about it. Really think about it. How most Latinos we know, at least 99% of everybody, are strictly religious, right? But the majority of Latinos in California are the majority of transgenders are Latinos. It's not a coincidence that from 1970, I believe, till I believe now, I think it went down 30% of Democrats don't believe in God like they used to in the 70s. So we're seeing that the shift goes along with the shift that comes to people that are believing in Christ or God or having some sort of moral value. And I think that's where we need to connect with people in the homes where they're teaching their kids godly moral values. So when they're faced with these things, they could sit back and be like, well, I'll hold the line. This doesn't seem right. But we've all been around, and I don't know if you were the house, but I remember being a kid, and I went to a Christian school my whole life, the majority of my life. I remember going to a neighbor's house. My mom was like, "Yeah, it's fine." His grandma, I was like 10 years old. His grandma and all the kids were watching Boys in the Hood, and I remember it was like one of the dirtiest scenes. And the grandma and everybody's watching it, and he's sitting there watching it. And he's like, after the scene gets done, he turns around, looks at me, and he's like, okay, do you want to ride our bike now? And it took me back as a kid because I thought to myself, what did I just see for the first time in my life? And how come nobody else is flipping out as adults? But this is the way, the difference of way certain families are raised opposed to certain ones. We need to get back to where we tell our kids, you can't watch this. You can only be on your phone for a certain amount of time. We're controlling things. Now we use social media as a babysitter and not really monitoring what's going on. So we're not raising our kids. Social media is raising our kids. TikTok is raising our kids. All these things that we complain about later on. Who else sang the song? What was it? The Old Town Road, right? We're like, oh, even though it's innocent, instead of pushing those things, maybe we should start letting our kids listen to gospel music, gospel rap. I believe that it starts in the home, and once you really start dissecting it, you'll start realizing it really does start in the home.
Also,
That's right, because look at that. They was all calculated, but it's all bigger than now that. It's the enemy, because that's why they took prayer out of schools and they took the Ten Commandments out. They took Jesus out, and then you're wondering why the country is getting more lawless, more evil by the day. Of course, when you take out Jesus, you take out the Ten Commandments, and then the kids are growing up idolizing Cardi B and this Nas dude and all that. You know what I mean? That's all the Hollywood, and then even the athletes, LeBron and all them. That's what's doing it to kids. You know what I mean? Because they look up to these movie stars and to these singers and rappers and all that kind of stuff more than us. But they should be looking up, listening to their pastors, like you said, and their parents. But instead, they're listening to what Cardi B and they imagine. And then you guys seen she's so slow. That's why she won't even try to debate Candace or any of that, because it's gonna be blown out of the water. She's just so stupid. But that's why it's so bad. But that's what happens when you take God out of schools. You should expect this to happen.
well, another what the parents have failed in the last 30 years. They didn't fail. I mean, they didn't do it. Is that aside from talking to God, you have to incorporate politics and talk to them about politics, at an early age, and what you stand for, so they can know what's going on, because they're going to get indoctrinated in school. In school, they're going to say, hey, Obama's a great guy. He's trying to do good. And that's where they get indoctrinated. A lot of these kids have gotten indoctrinated. I know most of my friends, the kids, man, they're indoctrinated. you know. And here in Florida, in Miami, can you believe that Cuban American exiles, kids, they want to be socialists? They're like, they support BLM. But what happened was that, you know, like any other parents, they were just used to going to work and trying to provide for the family, and you know, trying to save up money so they can go to college. But in the background, the school system was indoctrinating them. That's why I was saying, you know, let's you know, what's going on, you know, let's translate it into Spanish and let's get the word out to these, you know, because even though, you know, some of our family members are Democrats, down deep inside, you know, they're pro-life, you know, they go to church, you know, they're decent people, you know, they're respectful people, and stuff like that. Indoctrination, that doesn't go, you know, no matter how liberal as a Hispanic you are, you know.
You know what I'm kind of curious to see what's going to be their tactic, right? Because against Trump, that's all they. Trump is evil because you know it was a hard sell, like A-Rod had said before in the past. It was a hard sell with Trump because the media did such a good job of painting him racist and against Latinos and Orange Man bad, everything he does and all that. Without Trump, what are they going to do now? Like, you know, what's their little niche, or what are they going to push now? Especially with the terrible job Biden's doing, the open borders, just everything. They're trying to try to take guns, just in all ways. I'm just curious to see what's going to be their new angle, because now that Trump's gone, what are they going to say? That all Republicans are racist now, or I just don't know what are they going to try to do now.
Go ahead, Frankie.
I mean, I definitely think that, you know, that the second that Trump was out, they were going to have to find a new enemy. You know, there's nowhere else for them to go. You know, I think that's why we've seen an even further push in this whole white supremacy thing, which really doesn't even make sense, because if you look at all of the Trump supporters, we're such a vast variety of people and ethnicities, and we're literally the melting pot of America. You know, we've got everybody on our side. And you know, it's interesting that now that they have to keep their ratings up, I feel like they're eating each other alive. You know, they're going to Cuomo now because they don't have anything else. They're looking at a couple of the governors that have also been hiding their nursing home scandals that they've got going on, and it's they don't know where else to go. And I think that's why the cancel culture started getting worse, and they have to go after each other. There's nowhere else for them to go.
And so some of the Hispanics are just so asleep because, you know, a white person's telling you not to follow the other white person, but you're white. You know, I'm like, come on, man. You know, I just don't know how. I don't know how Hispanic is oppressed in the United States. I mean, are we being hunted down? I mean, are we being discriminated against? I mean, look, we had an attorney general that was Hispanic American. Look, most of the administration, I think the Trump administration has had the most Hispanic American people working in there. You know, Mercedes Schlapp, you know, she's Cuban. Navarro. How I was born in El Salvador. We have one of the astronauts was born in El Salvador. You know, I'm like, how the hell did, you know, he come from a third world country and now he's an astronaut. He's in the moon right now. I'm like, come on, man. I mean, seriously? You know, this is the greatest country, you know, and I just hope it doesn't go down. No, I'm going to do everything possible that I can, you know, not to let it. But I just hope that, you know, people share this live to other people and borrow the talking points, because this doesn't come from me. This comes from, you know, I read a lot and go on the internet. Share it to other people. Remember, we were talking about that, A-Rod. Hey, we need to bind together. We're always sharing talking points, sharing memes or whatever. This is not about who has the best meme or nothing like that. Maybe in the last 4 years, but now it's about, you know, saving our country and coming together as one.
You're muted.
There we go. Okay, so what I was saying was, I think what happens sometimes is, I think this is my take on it. I feel like sometimes when we get Hispanics in a position of some sort of power or authority in like the government or politics or something like that, or even like in the entertainment arena, we don't get any of them to like really come out and be like proud to be Hispanic. I don't know if that's just me. It's kind of almost like they don't want people to know that they're Hispanic or Cuban or whatever. And they just kind of play it off like, hey, I'm not going to say anything to my people and just kind of just, go this way. When in all reality, what they should really do is they should kind of be excited to tell everyone like, hey, I'm from, my parents are from this and this is where I came from. I'm Hispanic, I'm Latino, I'm from El Salvador, I'm from Cuba or whatever it is, and kind of get people pumped up. And I think that's what happens is like, I always say that you might not be the person to create the change, but you might actually help somebody be the change. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest part is like, just say what you can to who you can. And that person might be the person that just becomes somebody or does something, like when we used to do the rallies, I used to always say like, just come by, pick up the flag and wave it. It's not really about you picking it up and waving it. It's about you lighting that fire in somebody else that sees that. So that's my take on it. I think like especially if you're a minority, get out there, put the word out, and feel proud that you get to go out there and be in this beautiful country and do something about it. Do something. I mean, that's what it's about. We have to just do something. That's just my take on it.
Just to add on to that, because we all tell stories differently, that's why it's so important, like you were saying, to be proud of who you are. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, if you're male, female, if you're, from El Salvador, or from California, or Puerto Rican, or whatever, because the way that you tell your story is what's going to attract certain people to you. All five of us could tell the exact same story in the video, have the exact same talking points, the exact same video clips, and share the exact same story, but all five of us are going to tell that story completely different. And
right.
Somebody's going to connect completely different to each one of us. They could hear, let's say, if four of us told it one way, it might not hit that person. It might not click until they hear it the fifth time because you said it the way that you said it, because you shared it with a specific experience.
That's true.
Because you're from where you are from, or for all of these different reasons. That's why it's so important that we communicate. Coming back to, talking about politics with your family. I always thought it was interesting growing up why it was such a big deal. Oh, you don't talk about money, you don't talk about politics. The two topics you never talk about with anybody. Why is that? And then I grew up and realized what the issue was. They don't want you talking about it because the less you talk about it, the less you do about it. The less communication, the less ideas get out. And I feel like it's one of the reasons why, especially during this pandemic, they wanted us locked up. They wanted us separated from each other because when you come together, you talk about ideas, you communicate, you think, well, did you notice this? I kind of noticed this and I saw this. Like, what do you think about that? If you're separated, you can't talk. They're trying to limit every possible way of communicating because they don't want you to communicate. The less communication there is, the more control they have. And I feel like it's the exact reason why they want us divided. They don't want us talking to the left. They don't want them coming to us. They don't want us asking them questions. Hey, why do you feel this way? Why do you vote so strongly on this policy? Because they don't want us understanding each other, and they don't want us coming together and finding that middle ground and realizing that it's not one side or the other. It's not red versus blue. It's not liberal versus conservative. The problem is the government and the policies that they're pushing out and the things that they are fixing. But they don't want us talking because that's when the truth gets exposed.
Exactly. But thank you. We just want to thank you guys for coming out. We want to do something, do a little bit different today. You guys got to meet Frankie, Adrian, and the other Adrian, and now Marty Mars back right there. Miami Martin and Nino
Miami
Martin back. So we just wanted to, and also this is Passion Week. So we just want everybody to have a blessed week and a happy Easter. We have a Spanish show coming this week. And like I said, keep your eyes out. We have another girl show, hopefully kicking off pretty soon. Maybe we'll see Frankie, a couple of the other girls on the girl show. And just happy Easter and happy Resurrection Day. And everybody go ahead and say your goodbyes, everybody.
I guess I'll go because I'm a guest. One last thing. We want to inspire you guys. Okay, we want to inspire you guys. We won 100 A-Rods, 100 the Jessies, 100 Miami Martins. You know, do what we're doing. You know what I mean? Who inspired me was Jesse. Jesse inspired me, and look where I'm at right now. I never would have been here, you know. But that's what we want to do. We want to inspire you guys. We're just like you guys. We're normal people that care about this country, that care about people, that care about God, and you know, maybe one day you'll be here on the show, or you create your own show. You know, create your own movement. We're not here in competition. We're here to help each other out. You know, and donate. Come on, $5, $10, do it. Come on, donate. You know, this is how we get the movement going. Please donate.
Yep, you're right. Donate.
Well, the Constitution, you know, we need to translate it in Spanish. We need to teach the Constitution too.
Yeah. All right. God bless you guys. Thanks for coming on, and we'll see you guys soon.